Absolutely, Matt, and there is certainly a lot to discuss. I'm very pleased to bring in our next guest. Amrita Sen joins me now. She's from Energy Aspects and she's braving the cold with me outside OPEC headquarters here in Vienna. Amrita, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So the big question is, will they or won't they? Are we going to see the producer group deepening production cuts?
I think there is a possibility that we see around 400,000 barrels per day deeper cuts. Definitely not been firmed yet. I think Saudi Arabia is keen to surprise the market to the upside. Having said that, before the OPEC attack, Saudis were producing at 9.9 million barrels per day, with their quotas only about 10.3. So they were already producing 400,000 lower. So in some ways, they might just codify what they were already producing. So not sure you could call it a cut, but yes, from a baseline point of view, it would probably be 400,000 barrels per day lower than where they ended up in December 2018.
So does that mean that with the market as it stands right now, if they didn't deepen production cuts, would we see a significant sell-off in the price of oil?
I think the question should be given where sentiment is. Would we see a sell-off? I think yes, because I think the physical market is incredibly tight. I was just in Asia and the Middle East, and you can see there, like, the refineries are screaming for crude. They just don't have enough feedstock available right now. The physical market is extremely tight. I don't think OPEC need to deepen cuts. However, the problem is sentiment is very weak. They're still concerned about demand because of the US-China trade war. And I think there's a big problem right now with balances. All the kind of OPEC Secretariat and IEA balances are showing these big bills, but that's because they're looking at total liquids, which includes NGLs. That's where the bills are. Crude is drawing, and if you look at the backwardation across Brent, Dubai, it's really, really strong.
Tell me what will happen with compliance as well. Your own analysis says it was at about 65% in October, less than 100% likely in November as well. What's the OPEC enforcement mechanism for those laggard members like Iraq and Nigeria? What can they do to help them to lift their game?
I think the main focus of this OPEC meeting is actually going to be compliance, even more than whether they deepen cuts or not. Even if there are deeper cuts, I think they will be conditional on these laggards actually upping compliance. Now, of course, that's very difficult to enforce. We are starting to see lower Iraqi production. We can see that in the exports we are tracking. UAE has actually also been a laggard of late. And Nigeria, of course, one of the poorest compliances. The problem we've seen is that whenever Saudi compliance drops below 200%, the group's compliance drops below 100%. And I think that's exactly what Saudi Arabia is coming here to discuss. Hey, look, we are willing to overcomply, but as long as you comply. We can't be carrying this by ourselves forever. And I think there will be, and again, behind the scenes discussions have revolved around Saudi Arabia threatening to raise production if compliance from these countries don't pick up. So I think that those are the kind of conversations that are being had.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.